Hi, Ms. Beardsley. Pleasure to welcome you to the program. Thank you so much for making the time for this conversation. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So you haven't yet presented to Cabinet, but I'm wondering when you do, what your main message is, what you hope to tell them.
Well, what I'm coming with is the voices of the millions of folks across the country right now who are using food banks, as well as the thousands of folks who operate food banks. And we are sending a message that things are really hard right now for folks. We are seeing record levels of food bank use, 2.2 million visits in a single month currently right across Canada. And we need to see action in order to ensure that folks have what they need to have the essentials of life.
Before I get into kind of your suggestions on the action front, I think those numbers are worth taking a second look at. I know you've had a long involvement with the organization. To what degree have things, in your view, gotten worse?
It's shocking even to those of us in the field to see the numbers grow as they have. Since 2019, food bank use in Canada has doubled. These are community organizations that are showing up to make sure that their community members, their neighbors, are fed. We're seeing an increase across the board. Troubling numbers include the number of children. So a third of those using food banks are children. We're seeing an increase in single adults who tend not to be seen in legislative priorities. We're seeing an increase in seniors. And, you know, one of the troubling things that we're seeing is an increase in the number of people who are employed, who have jobs, who are now turning to the food banks across Canada.
And I remember you kind of sounding that alarm now for a few years, right? That this idea that people who are employed are still very, very much in need. What does that say to you?
It speaks to how vulnerable we are as a country. Now, we're talking a lot right now about the strength of Canada, making sure we build a strong future together. When you look at the numbers, we know that food insecurity has to be part of that plan forward. So when you have 24% of the population, or 25 rather, percent of the population, quarter of the population experiencing food insecurity, you can't build a strong Canada, a strong future. We need to address this issue if we want to address the other challenges that Canada is facing right now.